Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. The Office of Communication welcomes you to the Paraspar talk. Today we have Professor K. Sankara Rao, who will be speaking on his new book, Trees of Bangalore, a book to uncover hidden treasures in the city. Before we begin, I would like to give a brief introduction of the speaker today. The author is a former professor at the Department of Biochemistry, Indian Institute of Science, has a long and varied experience in the field of plant biology and profound reverence and love for nature. Post-retirement, he moved to the Center for Ecological Sciences, IISc, and invested considerable time, interest and time in biodiversity informatics, plants, landscape, landscape ecology and conservation. He pioneered floral diversity documentation in digital resource system in the country and is dedicated to informing society about the natural world through websites and books. Among other books he authored are the two best-selling pictorial book, Field Guides, Indian Institute of Science, Campus, Botanist Delight, and Flowering Plants of Indian Institute of Science, both of them which are available at the Office of Communication. If you are interested, please come and pick up a copy. The full name of the book is Field Guides, Indian Institute of Science, Campus, Botanist Delight, and Flowering Plants of Indian Institute of Science, a field guide. These books were released on IISc celebrating its centenary and are released by the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and Bharat Ratna Professor C.N.R. Rao. He is the lead researcher and mentor for online database Digital Flora of Karnataka, Digital Flora of Eastern Ghat, Flora of Peninsular India, and India Flora Online. Among the many accolades and achievements, some of them are he is a fellow of the Indian Academy of Sciences, a fellow the Layman Society of London, member American Association of the Advancement of Science, member editorial board for physiology and molecular biology of plants and resonances. Among the other many patents, some of them are a simple process for introducing foreign genes into sunflower, a process to genetically engineer groundnut for resistance to Tika disease, a method of introducing foreign genes in sunflower. We are very happy to have you, Professor Rao, today, and we look forward to your lecture. I think this needs to be adjusted.
No, I have that here. It's audible? This is a very good initiative by the Office of Communications, Paraspara. I am so grateful to them for hosting me on this occasion of my presentation on the trees of Bangalore. Thank you very much to the chairman, Professor Kaushal Verma and Dr. Bitasta Das. I thought I would first tell you which tree it is. This is a tree in the Raman Institute, at the base of which the ashes of Sir C.V. Raman were buried, I believe. And last year, this tree had fallen down, and they are trying to resurrect that now. So this is that tree, Rosiodendron, Donald Smithy. Yeah, trees are celebrated in poetry, song, painting, and so many other ways. You can see that, I don't know. You may not feel the same way I do. It is so exciting to be living I mean, to be camping on top of a tree, at the same time have all the comfort of staying at home. A house on top of a tree. This is taken from the book Treetops by the author Jim Corbett. Treetops. The book name is Treetops. So that is the way he celebrated the trees. I would want to celebrate trees in my own way. I might have to recall some of my something in my childhood days or when I was very young. I was very fond of trees. I used to be most of the time sitting on trees. My dad comes home and asks my mom, "Where is this fellow?" My mother would say, "Where else you can expect him to be there?" So most of the time I used to be on the tree and play with my friends, jumping from one branch to the other, like many of the primates do. Once what happened was that I jumped from a guava tree branch onto the branch of this country badam. I jumped onto that and caught hold of that, but very next moment that gave way. Both the branch and myself, we were on the ground. I have fallen not on the ground, I fell in a ditch where there is a lot of mud and then there is water there. The place was really stinking. So my whole body was full of this mud and all that. See, my problem was not the injury that I sustained. How will I go home and face my parents with that cosmetic on my body? So that was the time when I realized that I should know something about these trees before I do anything with them. Because I should know which tree has a stronger wood, which other tree is stronger and things like that. And one other incident I would like to relate to you. I used to climb palms, particularly this palmyra palm, very easily in my younger days. These parakeets, they make burrows and raise their families there in that burrow. I just curious about that. What stage is that the development of the chicks? I climbed up, no doubt. I put my hand into that burrow. It's not the bird, the eggs or chick that we found. There was a snake sitting pretty in that. I felt that very next moment. I pulled my hand out, and good thing that it has not bitten me. And then, it is then I used to climb these palms very, very fast. It is that day I learned how to get down the palm so fast. So these are some of my experiences, and that is the kind of learning I started even when I was young. So that is the way I celebrated trees. So it is like this. The term tree of life, family tree, even tree hugger, all these demonstrate the central cultural importance of trees in many communities across the world. The Australian city Melbourne, they gave the urban tree names as email IDs to people. Like, for instance, macadamia@gmail.com, something like that. So it is something very unusual and novel. Streets and avenues are named after trees. We have Sampegi Road, Margoda Road. Abroad they have Walnut Avenue and the Redwood Avenue. It's all like that. Trees are symbols of growth. Sometimes a tree is decapitated, simply cut. that stump is left like that. After some time, you see copy shoots coming out. And sometimes they even have the ability to grow into a tree. So that is the capacity. That's why they are the symbols of growth. And you see, you start any organization, anything like that, anything good you want to do there, you plant a sapling. And then trees are also our hope against the warming cities today. That's a very hot topic and a very important thing that concerns everybody today. People who think India is a land of tree forests outside human settlements, they are sadly mistaken. And they do not know the country. In our country, there are so many cities and large towns. They have a wealth of greenery with a variety of trees there. Bangalore, no doubt, undeniably stands out. And no wonder it is called the garden city of India, and it truly is the green capital of the country. I just want to say what a diplomat, the Consulate General of Switzerland says about Bangalore. The balance of nature and innovation is a rare and cherished aspect of Bangalore, says Jonas Brunswick, Consulate General Switzerland. Switzerland is a beautiful place. A person coming from Switzerland and praising Bangalore, you should know that sometimes you do not know the worth of our own city. Then, this city remained green and verdant in spite of so much of development and urbanization. That this has happened is a tribute to the nature-loving, the citizens of this, or the residents of this city. Despite this garden city tag and all that, Bangalore surprisingly lacks one thing: a record of its trees, their characteristics, to portray each one of those trees in a manner that the portrayal takes you close to the trees. Such a book is non-existent. It is not there at all. So I'll give my own experience. When I was very young, I think finished my 10th or 10 plus 2, I was taken around this city by my elder brother. The first thing that impressed me about Bangalore was, no doubt, the trees, because of my affinity with trees right from my younger days. Then one question that so I wondered, who could have brought so much of variety of these trees to Bangalore? The second thing that came to my mind is whether there is any literature, any book to tell me the different species apart. I was really disappointed. There is something like that wasn't there at all, non-existent. I searched the literature and saw that. I found just one book by T.P. Issar. He was a bureaucrat. He brought out a book, about 200 pages book. He talked about some 15, 20 different species of trees, and excepting for that, till very recently, even today, till I brought out these books, there is no book to tell which tree is what. And Bangalore is a floral destination of many a tourist here. They come and just they wonder, they see, they appreciate. Then they want to know what is what. They have no information. So, this being the situation, after some time I realized that I must do I realized that I must take up this task on myself. I wanted to do it myself. Then I began my inventories in Bangalore and the surroundings. Went around the city and on the buffer zones separating the city with the surroundings. We have a very nice natural forest about 20 kilometers from Bangalore city, Vanerghatta. I have not spared those places also. Went around, started recording everything about every tree, tried to identify. One reason why there were no books could be perhaps because of the difficulty in identifying these things. Bangalore has a large proportion of exotic trees. These alien trees, they are brought, no doubt, but we don't have any information about them. And then even the botanists also have not ventured into doing anything with them. So the whole thing remained without any information. So I went around, started my inventories, started noting down the different characteristics and started identifying them, and incubated that matter for some time because I was in service, and my time with my work was all very demanding and all that. They could not do anything about it. Post-retirement gave me the break. After retirement, I happened to go to the Center for Ecological Sciences. That is some 18 years ago. I am with the Center for Ecological Sciences 18 years ago. And then around 2006 or 2007, the digital cameras came to the market. That has boosted my interest in documenting these things, even with color pictures, which was a task that was impossible before that. Just to print one color picture was so expensive those days. So that was the thing there. Then even what has happened then, when the cameras came to the market there, perhaps I was one of those first persons to have purchased. And then Indian Institute of Science was to celebrate their centenary. At that time, Professor Balaram called me and said, "Can you do a book on our campus which everybody says is so beautiful and all that?" I agreed, and then came out with a book, The Botanist's Delight. That book is sold out. It is out of shelves now. That was released by Dr. Abdul Kalam during the inaugural session of the centenary celebrations. Anyway, so what I had to do was I identified trees, collected a lot of data, but then with the cameras then I had to revisit all those places where I have noted down trees. I have again revisited those places and collected the information about trees, not just taking the picture of a tree, the different stages, so that people later on when I can print that there, in whatever stage the tree is, they should be able to place that. That was the meaning. And then even in the book today, a page is allotted to a tree there. Looking at that, in whatever stage they see a tree, they should be able to identify the tree, whether it is in a flowering stage or fruiting stage, something like that. So after I have completed documenting all those, photographed all of them there, the task started of putting this data together. In this task, I was very generously being helped by a group of people here, some of whom I can identify here. Dr. Sujata Mohan Kumar, kindly put up your hand. Dr. Sringeshwara, has he come here? Aditi, She is still working with me there in the department. Pratiksha, Abhishek, and then Professor Joshi from our department. He took the trouble of correcting my manuscripts. Then Vaishali Kulkarni. Then Raman Arunachalam. So we have a wonderful group. They have helped me put all the data together. Then as early as, okay, then what happened after publishing the book, after bringing out this book there, my task was to find a publisher. So for some reasons I could not take it through our IISc publications. Then Indian Academy of Sciences very generously has taken up the publication of this book, and this book was actually released during the 90th year of, these are the 2 volumes. The data is so voluminous, it has come to 1,100 pages or even more. I had to put it in 2 volumes. So we have volume 1 and volume 2. I have divided the trees in both alphabetically. I have divided them. And then apart from the trees, I have also brought in palms, large woody climbers like the one we have in our old Center for Ecological Sciences building. It is mightier than a tree. It is, in fact, it is strangling all the trees around. Such a mighty thing. So the woody climbers, and then some conifers, all these are brought into that under the banner of Trees of Bangalore. Then this is divided into 2 volumes, and this is released by Professor A.K. Sood, the Principal Scientific Advisor, Government of India. When Indian Academy of Sciences was, was to celebrate their 90th year celebrations in Bhubaneswar, it is rather strange. Book is published, it's a Trees of Bangalore, and it is released in Bhubaneswar. This tree, this book introduces you to every tree you are likely to come across in vibrant color pictures, and forms an admirable baseline of information on the fascinating tree diversity in the beautiful city of Bangalore. A must read for everyone passionate about trees, sustainability, and urban ecology. Then you see, you don't have to be a botanist to identify the trees. Just looking at the pictures, you can identify the trees. And then if you have not liked the trees or did not look at the trees, at any time, well, look at the book there, you develop some kind of fascination for these trees. So you develop that love for the trees when you look at the book. So the idea is to take people very close to this. This is a boon that Bangalore got, that to say something that several other cities envy. Then this is about the book release, and my 2 colleagues, Aditi and Pratiksha, accompanied me. And then that was promptly covered by the print. And they asked me, they wanted a picture of mine. I said, I don't want a picture, my picture alone. I want my colleagues there. And these 2 people were standing with me, and then there was a picture taken of that. Then the book also explores various facets of urban greening. and ecology through series of articles catering to both amateurs and professionals. So the different pages are like this, and then is the contents. The volume 1 shows about the book, acknowledgements and about other things. Then the articles, glossary of botanical terms, you are going to come to that a little later. And I have put the glossary in word as well as a pictorial glossary, so that you see people who cannot just understand the technical terms used while describing the trees there. Looking at the pictures, they can relate what the term means. So a pictorial glossary, list of species, then enumeration of species. The A to I, the trees are all there in the first volume, then the woody climbers in the first volume. In the second volume, similarly, we have the glossary, list of species, enumeration of species, trees, J to Z, shrubs, palms, conifers and cycads. Then you say I brought in some articles on the iconic trees. Bangalore has some iconic trees. To make a mention, we have Dodda Alada Mara. Perhaps you know there is a very large banyan tree, very close to Bangalore. That's near Magadi. They have that. That many people come to see that. It's a huge one, occupying several hectares. That's one of the iconic trees. Then we have an iconic tree, the scion of Bodhi tree on this very campus. So like this, there are some iconic trees with their pictures and all these things that is there in that article. After this, iconic trees and what is this, iconic trees? Yeah. So this is one aspect that you see the city very sadly misses. We don't have guiding principles as to tell people what kind of tree has to go where for what purpose. This has been dealt with. It's like, for instance, I tell you, there is a tree with sausage-like fruits hanging. Those trees are planted as avenue trees there. You have to wear a helmet in order to walk along the sidewalks. So this is the kind of wisdom that we had in the recent planting. And there are trees with those buttresses. They even lift up the concrete. And those things are as on the sidewalks. And such things are all dealt with. And then what kind of trees have to go along the broad streets, along narrow streets, where some trees have to go into say botanical gardens. All that has been treated in that article. There is some kind of a sort of a guideline for people to bring about the planting of trees if there were to be future planting in Bangalore. Then you have the entire data, which is so enormous, and I wanted to sort of analyze the whole thing. That you can show. Before that, the different various articles that that the book carries. The first one is the botanical history of Bangalore. Bangalore botanical history is not dealt with anywhere. Starting from 1970, when the tree planting started on what was a plain, sort of treeless, barren area. And tree planting suddenly started, and it went on for some time. It peaked sometimes early 1990s, and then there's so many exotic trees were also brought. By 1960, it has got the designation or the name very deservingly as the garden city of Bangalore. All that has been dealt with in that article, Botanical History of Bangalore. Bangalore city growth itself, we have taken down, we have written down here, Bangalore over the passage of time. Pre-independence, post-independence, what all happened, all the events in that article, Bangalore over the passage of time. Urban greening, environmental and social perspectives, all that was dealt with in that article. Floral composition of Bangalore, native versus alien, I have discussed. Why one should have more of native trees also I had mentioned there. Because today in Bangalore, the alien trees have taken over and you see them everywhere, but then they are not ecologically very important. That is, they don't have a fruit to offer to the small mammals. And in Bangalore, sometimes in some locations, you have the monkey menace. They have become very aggressive because they have nothing to eat. The things like that, they're all discussed. And what kind of trees are to be planted, for what purpose, all that was dealt with. And what kind of alien trees you should keep, which other alien trees you should remove, because we have the alien tree, like for instance the paper mulberry, that has assumed the proportions of being some kind of it is all pervading, invasive it has become. And then they now started bringing one other tree like that, it is called Conocarpus, I don't know the common name. This Conocarpus, in Hyderabad I see everywhere, this Conocarpus is planted. I don't know the reason behind. So such things, so they become invasive, and they're sort of weeding out all the native trees. Native trees in the past, they have actually, they're sort of attuned to the environment here, and the pollinators and the small birds and all these things which have taken to these trees there, and taken to sort of surviving on their fruits and all these things, they are also running away from the city there. At one time, our IISc campus had so many bird species, even the migratory birds coming here. You hardly see any birds, not even the crows. So this is an ecological issue. We have to make the city ecologically sustainable. So this article deals with all that. What is that? The floral composition of Bangalore, native versus alien trees. Then the Bangalore city has a large number of endemic and endangered endemic species which are all the numbers of which are diminishing in their natural surroundings there. Say in the Western Ghat tree, some of them, they are brought into the city by some botanical gardens, like the Mahatma Gandhi Botanical Garden in GKVK. Their job is to bring all these endemic trees and make them sort of grow, multiply, and with the idea of putting them back in there. It is what we call ex situ conservation. They are doing this wonderful job of ex situ conservation. Some of these endemic trees are also endangered species. So what they are doing is something, a great service. And they have a beautiful, what is it, a garden of all the woody species there, an arboretum. It is worth visiting, and then they are doing a wonderful job, a wonderful service of. So I have given a list of all these endemic species, a list of all endemic species. How many of them are endangered even? That is also dealt with. You might wonder, so this inventory went on for about 35 years. But then in 35 years, so much of change has taken place in Bangalore. Many of those trees which I have actually recorded, they have also disappeared. I have given a list of those which were present there, and they now, since they have disappeared. So the idea is this, and if there is a way, we can bring them from somewhere and again put them there, the Bangalore will become what it was before. Even such lists are also given. Then we have campus of IISc, Ecological Awareness and Green Initiatives. Some time ago, I wrote an article on that, and some excerpts in those are brought about here. For instance, I myself organized tree planting on 2 or 3 occasions. Many people have planted trees. Some of them planted, now they were saplings at that time. Now in about 8 to 10 years, they're all trees flowering and fruiting now. It's a beautiful thing. And some of them are there around the new aerospace and other places. Then I'm surprised I myself was surprised to see them flowering and fruiting. So some of these things I have listed here. And I was talking about that mighty woody climber that we have in front of the old CES building. This is really mighty. What it is doing is, it has spread all directions, and in each direction occupying an area equivalent to a football ground. And it is spreading all its leaves on all the trees around, and it has strangled almost all trees around. What happens is, it just spreads itself on top of those trees there. Eventually those trees die because there is no way they can assimilate. So sometime later, some horticulture department people, they came and said, we would like to, this is a beautiful thing that everybody comes to campus, they look at that, they wonder, looking at this and all that. They take pictures of that. We would like to plant in Lal Bagh. If you want all the trees in Lal Bagh to disappear, you plant it. It's really mighty. So, such trees are fit to be only in a forest. It actually comes from our forests, both Eastern and Western Ghats. I don't know whose great idea was it to bring and plant here on the campus. So I have a full article on that, the pros and cons of planting something like that. And I called it calling card vine, the branches, they're like the calling card of telephone, these things. So, next. Now, iconic trees. I have a full article on iconic trees. Several of them that are there in Bangalore. When I was very young, I tell you, 10 plus 2 I have done. I was brought to Bangalore then. It so happened at the time when I was taken around the Lal Bagh there, Khrushchev and Bulganin came to Bangalore. You know who these two individuals are. The president and then the prime minister of the USSR. Those days it was USSR. They planted 2 conifer trees on either side of the path leading from glass house to the bandstand. Those are the mighty trees. They are real mighty trees, iconic trees. There is one tree that is planted in front, next to our, our Tata statue. Is a magnolia grandiflora, planted by Queen Elizabeth II. So we have that Bodhi Sayan is brought from Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka brought it from the actual Bodhi tree. They brought some kind of a cyan in the sense, some cutting and all that. They have grown that in Sri Lanka. That cyan was brought to our campus and it's planted by Professor Reddy of aerospace, and it is there near the new aerospace building, Bodhi tree. So like this, we are some iconic trees are there. I have dealt with all these iconic trees on our own campus and also around Bangalore. And then I mentioned about that Dodda Alada Mara and all these places. Another iconic tree was the tree that we are showing there, that have fallen in RRL. C.V. Raman Institute. So all these iconic trees are dealt with there. Greening of this city and choosing the right tree for every place. There is an article on that. It's some kind of a pathfinder, and it's some kind of a roadmap for future. It's a roadmap for future planting of trees in Bangalore. Then trees of Bangalore, the entire data has been reviewed and is analyzed. And I can just show some pages. Yeah, before that, I'll show this a glossary of technical terms and a glossary in pictures, pictorial glossary. And I say the leaf is ovate. I say the picture shows their ovate. What that ovate means. So just I have shown. Similarly, I have shown flowers, fruits, everything there used. Technical terms are used because it's, we can very well describe a plant only when we use technical terms. So some technical terms are used, some common terms are used. There is a blend of those both terms. So that has been shown here in the glossary. And then we have list of species with their page numbers and a list of species in common names. If I just give a technical name and give them, people won't be able to place. So supposing you say Gulmohar, people will be able to Gulmohar. I cannot say it's something else for that. So in technical terms, we have for common names we have given the page numbers, and also for the botanical terms we have the page numbers. Then I am just showing all the sample pages. These are some of the sample pages. All pages in the book, 800 species. Those pages are like this. We have all stages of that. Leaves, flowers, fruits. And incidentally in this my car also has come there. Okay, so that is a woody climber. I found in one of the private campuses of this dollar colony. I barged into their house and then taken those pictures. And these are palms. This is a palms picture. That's our airport. There's a picture taken. That is one of the conifers. I was just showing one page each of these things. Then this is an overview of the data. In Bangalore, botanical gardens have the major chunk of the trees. Next comes institutional campuses like IISc, GKBK, and so on. And then comes the private properties like the palace grounds and all that. So I have just analyzed the number. In the other one, origin and distribution, where all these trees have been, because there are a number of alien trees are there, where all the trees are brought from. Then from Asia we have a large chunk. Then North America so many. and all that. Like that, you see, every aspect has been analyzed in the book, so that you see, this gives some kind of a bird's eye view of the entire data of the book. Is there anything else that? Then I have subjected this. This book is subject-wise, botanically very robust. I got this subjected to some kind of peer review. Many people have reviewed this. So that is one thing. And also aesthetically very, very, very appealing. You can see that as you turn the pages there, you keep doing it. That is the way. The first book and the only book of its kind. I would say I don't think it may not be possible in future also, because you see there are some trees are there on the roadside there. One cannot venture into just coming onto the road and take a picture there, for the fear of some vehicle coming and then bring you down. So it cannot be done. So, and then it is a one-time documentation of the floral diversity of this, the beautiful city of this. I don't know, 35 years or I don't know, when I look back, I say, and I myself wonder how I've been able to do that. Then these are some mini reviews, one coming from USA, one from Canada, two from USA, one from Australia, and so on. There are others, I could not just accommodate them. Then these are all people of my team who have very efficiently and in a committed manner, they have helped me put all the data together. Pratiksha, Aditi, Vaishali Kulkarni, and Sujata Mohan Kumar. Then of course, then Dr. Sringeshwara. He is the one who looks after the arboretum in GKVK campus, Mahatma Gandhi Botanical Garden, and if you have time, you better go there and see that place there. It's wonderful. He has brought so many endemic species of trees from everywhere, and he has planted them and he is nurturing them there. It's so nice, and he is doing a wonderful job, ex situ conservation. And the Raman Arunachalam, he does the tree census in Bangalore. Then, next year. Time is up? Yeah. As I was composing, getting this book out, I have come across something very, very, very exciting. Why should you have trees in Bangalore? At all, in any city for that matter there. Today they have ecologically and from the point of view of protecting the environment, they have become very, very important. Their trees are a refuge in heating cities today. Bangalore is still, it is like this, in spite of so many vehicles running around, so much of pollution. That is perhaps on account of the trees there. I have come across this article. We all know that trees are the carbon sinks. They take in carbon dioxide and purify the air and refresh the air that we breathe. That is what is known. And even in our the COP meetings and all, the carbon dioxide was the central point, and they were talking about it all the time. Suddenly, this year, 2024 July, a person by name Vincent Gassi came up with a very exciting discovery. That is, trees also absorb another greenhouse gas, that is methane. It's very, very exciting kind of a this thing there for all those people now who are trying to work out ways of mitigating climate change. He says trees absorb methane. Here they have also come up with an estimate. Yearly, trees, they sequester something like 25 to 50 million tons of methane, I believe. And then much of it is done by, again, the tropical trees. We have so many tropical trees here. And then methane contributes to 1/3 of the warming that has taken place, I believe. We are not aware of that. All the time we talk about only carbon dioxide. So, now the methane, like water under the mat, simply escaping the thing there and nobody looked at it. And then another person from Stanford University, who is the head of the world, the carbon project, I forget his name, Rob Jackson. He says methane is an environmental, it is a culprit that the world is ignoring. We have to very quickly see that methane is absorbed, or say it is taken away. The one good thing, now this I saw just 2 days ago in Times of India. They talk about opportunities. What are these opportunities? How trees are connected with this? Now trees take up carbon dioxide through leaves. Trees take up methane through their bark. So it is only trees they can do, not small plants. Okay? So now what are the opportunities? Unlike carbon dioxide that remains, gets heated up and it remains there for centuries, methane, the lifetime is only 10 to 15 years, I believe. Just 10 to 15 years. So there is a possibility of our removing methane first and then reduce that 1/3 of the heating. So the opportunities are more sort of removing methane rather than it is with carbon dioxide. Now methane levels are slowly surging. That is because so many different ways, including our own kitchen. Okay, now what they say is this 15 years time is reduced further. What are the ways? One very natural way of reducing methane is by growing more trees. And then what kind of trees you select? Those trees that are very efficient in absorbing methane. So we have to select. So Bangalore could be a hub for these climate scientists. They need not go very far somewhere. They have the experimental trees here only. They can find out which of these of the tropical trees which are more efficient in absorbing methane, grow more of those trees there. So those are the opportunities. And then that is it. We have to grow more trees. That is one way. Of course, there are other ways of removing methane. So there are more chances of our ability to remove methane than concentrating on carbon dioxide and removing. We can do that also parallelly. There is an opportunity. So methane also offers an opportunity. This is what I wanted to discuss as a part of this. And try to give a connection between what I have done today and what these people are talking about. This book tells people what is what, which tree is what. So these people working, this climate scientists, they can easily figure out, looking at the pages in the book, they can figure out which are these trees. And Bangalore, at stone's throw, we have GKBK and our own campus everywhere. They can figure out those trees which are more efficient among the native trees and the tropical trees. So this is just wanted to, trying to connect things there. If there is any kind of an application other than telling people there what tree has to be planted where and all that there, even such things we never know what other applications books of this kind can give you. So this is just what I wanted to say. And then the same Vincent Gassis, trees are even more important than we thought before. That is one thing. Another Australian environmentalist says that something else, very nicely said, there has never been a more important time for the world to understand trees. That's what this man from Australia, an environmental, Bruce Pascoe says. There has never been a better time to understand trees. And what I am going to say here is, there is still so much we do not know about trees. That is my statement. And then this book is love of a city with love of trees. That is my conclusion, please. Thank you very much. Are there any questions that you have?
Thank you, Professor Rao, for this delightful talk and introducing us to your wonderful book. I'll ask the first question. I'll take the privilege. I just wanted to know how much time it took for you to conceptualize the book and publishing the book.
The concept was there long ago. Concept was there, but there was no means. There was no time for me to just put things together. I just collected data for several years and incubated that. I would use a different term, I pickled it. Then, later, of course, with the advent of the technology, so I was able to put these things. I was very efficiently being helped by people.
Sankara, the trees of Bangalore, are there two names that come to your mind, Krumbagal and Nirodi?
Oh, that I have missed, my goodness. Thank you very much, Sharat. I wanted to pay tribute to that person who is the main architect of this green infrastructure of Bangalore. That is Gustav Hermann Krumbagal. My apologies to all of you. My apologies to the daughter or granddaughter who is granddaughter of Krumbagal living here. I wanted to say, but I have skipped. And then, of course, Dr. Nirodi is the father-in-law of the ex-director of Indian Institute of Science, Professor Dhawan, sitting there. He and Krumbagal together, they have designed the trees of IISc.
Sir, in our environment right now, a lot of endangered birds.
Not audible, please.
Okay, so
maybe I'm hard of hearing.
okay.
Sringeshwara, we are celebrating you. Yeah, you please stand up. He is Dr. Sringeshwara, who teaches in GKBK. He is a part of my team there. He goes around all forests in Western Ghats, other places, brings seeds, germinates them here, brings up the trees there, some of which are highly endangered and they critically endangered. He grows them in GKBK campus. And there is, why don't you please make yourself prominent, sir? He's a very great person. I have all regards for him. If someone wants to know anything about any plant in Western Ghats, starting from Maharashtra to down south, KMTR down south, you know, we have. You want to know anything about any plant there, he is the person. He is a mobile encyclopedia.
Okay, sir.
And his wife. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry I missed you, madam. And Sahana, she is again a botanist, Dr. Sahana. She is a specialist in orchids. She has an orchidarium there. You must go there. There are many places there. There is a beautiful place, a temple next to your house. You don't go there. It is for people from outside taking all the trouble of coming and visiting. This is the problem with many of us. We have great things in Bangalore. One purpose of my book is to show people there. Look at the trees wayside as you pass. Just see, just a second, you know, just give a glance and then see, you know, how beautiful Bangalore is.
Okay, sir, I come from a place which is very famous for migratory birds. But when I was a child, the kind of variety of birds that I was seeing, today I'm not seeing that many variety of birds. Is it has to do with something correlation with the trees?
A very good question you asked. And then there is also a person who is an authority on birds. Krishna ji, you have taken that. He is the person. He is Krishna. He is an expert on birds in Bangalore. Yeah, he is going to answer your question. Yeah, please kindly answer.
Excuse me.
I think you better give him the mic.
Wait. Can you repeat your question because it's being recorded?
Okay. Okay. So when I see the migratory birds that coming to Odisha, Chilika particularly, so the kind of birds or the variety of birds that we are seeing probably 10-15 years ago and right now what we are seeing, so there is a huge difference. We are just seeing only 3-4 varieties of birds with a great number, but other varieties are not coming. So is it has to do something with the ecosystems, with the trees, because that particular place is very surrounded by the Bay of Bengal as well as a few mountains and with some trees. So once you cut down the trees, then maybe those birds are not finding comfortable. I mean, this is my hypothesis, but you can clarify.
See, there's been a global decline in the bird life all over the world. And even if you take local places in India, there has been tremendous decline in birds. Essentially, what happens is that when you talk about declines, there are two aspects to look at. One is the population, and the other is the variety. Now, one cannot confuse one aspect with the other. Declines have been dramatic by way of populations. Even if you take, say, Bangalore, you may not have species disappearing because you can always put in more effort and get to see them. But the point is that numbers have dropped. If you take water birds, for example, drops can be as heavy as something like around 85 to 95% depending on the species in Bangalore, because we have basically destroyed habitats. And another concept which people need to get out of their head is that just because we plant fruiting trees and all that, that birds would come. No, bulk of the birds today are basically animal food eaters, because the kind of energy required for flight and bulk they'll have to carry if they were eating just vegetable matter is very different. So bulk of the birds, the entire passerines, the entire almost 50% or 75% of the birds are all animal matter eaters, from insects to other kind of animal matter eaters, because it provides more energy. Yes, when you plant more, when you have more foliage of whatever kind, you would have more insects, and that could support the birds. It will always be indirect. And much of the birds, water birds, which you would find in any wetland or anywhere, would be essentially older families which feed on, say, even vegetable matter like many of the reed birds. But then they would be feeding on soft-wooded, soft-tissued plants in the water, not trees. So, as far as I can outright remember, there are very few water birds which make use of trees, apart from the ones which are used for nesting. All the herons, the entire group uses trees for nesting. They build their nests on it. Hole nesters, you have 1 or 2 species of ducks which nest in holes. And the bulk of the aquatic fauna, bird life would be vegetable matter eaters. I haven't come across any water bird feeding on trees.
Okay. We have a question here.
Yeah. Sorry for a long reply.
Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for the talk. My question is with regard to the avenue planting, which Bangalore was very famous for. We used to have canopies running across roads. Obviously, that's no longer going to be possible because previously we had rain trees that were used for this. How much of the destruction of that system has contributed to where we find ourselves, and what is possibly going to be a solution to that?
I have dealt with that in one article there actually. See, much of the avenue tree planting was done during the time of Krumbagal and later on a few good horticulturists who have the knowledge of what plants to be taken on as avenue trees and all that there. That generation of people, they have gone. And now you see, you just take a sapling, put wherever there is space. So with the result, what has happened is, you have wrong trees, they're in wrong places, rather as avenue trees and all that there. So this is what is happening there. And then, this rain tree as an avenue tree, I'm not very much for it, because you see, they have spreading branches. You just see on this road, Bell Road, there are some branches coming onto the road there, and the buses have to avoid those things and go, and some of them even hit them sometimes. Some buses have dents there in that particular place. So this is the situation there. So we have to, that's what I said, in the one article there I wrote there, right trees in the right place or something like that, you see. That was done before also, those days, but then, it is all forgotten there. And my due respects to people, forest department people who are deputed from the forest department to BBMP. I have even tried to go and talk to them and all that there. They have their own agenda. They just go on with whatever they're doing there. And then I found it very, very difficult to approach them, first of all. To tell them, see, it's not a sales promotion. I want to show you there something like this is existing. You please have, at least you send one copy to each of the wards in Bangalore. So the lot of planting needs to be done in Bangalore. Many avenues and streets, they have lost their avenue trees. They need to be replanted. At least in future, when you plant something, do it in a more scientific manner. I wanted to tell them that, drive this point into the mind there. When I recently, they came for a meeting somewhere here in Wood Research Institute there. They called me also there. The purpose why they called me there is, make me one of those sort of, resource persons, judges to sort of, evaluate some projects there, I believe. I said, I walked out. I took the book there. They did not want to look at the book. So their agenda is totally different. What can I do? Maybe slowly, if this book is being circulated there, then people come to know of what is right and what is wrong.
So one more question. In the recent times, there's been a lot of talk about the Miyawaki forests, and the BBMP also created these Miyawaki patches and all of that. It's very expensive, yes, and the upkeep also is quite tedious in the first couple of years. Do you really think that is something that we should?
There is nothing like something expensive today. The kind of price that we are paying, last summer is an evidence how Bangalore, we never experienced anything like that in Bangalore. At least I stayed here for 65 years. I never experienced a summer like that. This thing there, that's a very heavy price. Not just Bangalore, there are other cities, There are deaths, madam, because of surging mercury levels. And then can we just equate caste with the human lives? So it is,
But do you think that is
something expensive, go ahead. If by doing that you are going to save the situation there, go ahead. We have money for what you call, some deck, what is it? So things like that, we have all fancy things, we have money for those things.
So you agree with the Miyawaki method being implemented?
Sure.
Okay.
Agree with that. So you think of things which are very much needed. Am I right? You see, our spending has to be need-based. Not simply something there. Actually, if you have to translocate a tree there, it costs something there. By all means, you do that. Some argument of some people is, what is it? You cut down those trees there. We are going to plant so many more. So, for the time that these trees grow and become useful there, that time, people have to suffer, is it? Is it a good argument? No, something that has grown and is giving you the dividends there, keep it. Keep that tree. Rather than go for, planting so many of them. You do that by all means. But at the same time, don't lose what we have. A bird in the hand. Anything else, please? There are so many such very well-grown trees, in Bangalore. Simply, they're just beheaded.
Sir, this is Pratap. I represent the IISc Alumni Association. So we have generally our alumni are also very fascinated about the trees, and in fact, last couple of years during the annual reunion, one of the agenda during the Sundays will be the nature work or campus work, which is going to happen 22nd of December this year also. I would like to invite you also if you can spare some time.
Yeah, actually I must tell you also that I have organized tree planting on the campus some 3 times on 3 occasions here. I am very happy. Today those are the perhaps the only trees which are there untouched. They are growing very well. In the older areas where there were a lot of trees there for some reasons, and there are also sort of valid reasons for which they are disappearing there. We lose in one place, at least we have something in another place there. And then I used to take people on tree walks. For several years I have done that. And we have a picture of that somewhere. Tree walks. Yeah, at least some 30, 40 people used to go with me, and then you know, during the tree walks only, people used to also do the bird watching and all that here on this campus there. Actually, it seems, you know, these green spaces in a green urban spaces are key to and the associated biodiversity, key to the health. Yeah, that was actually covered by some media at one time. I used to regularly on Saturdays and Sundays I used to do. Now I cannot do that anymore. Even perhaps, you know, I am presenting this to you. I'm not very kind of very eloquent in talking, because that's because of my aging processes. This is the thing there. I can't help it. But then I want to do good to the city as long as I can do. So this is one thing I thought I would, you know, I can contribute to the city.
So I had another question. In fact, we had last World Environment Day.
So you are doing something like that?
Yes, we want to help you. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And
somebody
also
asked me to which party will you support, which party you belong. I said I belong to Tea Party. I said.
So last World Environment Day we had announced initiative from alumni association, like each member owning a tree, not only in Bangalore, somewhere nearby, where they like from the association will be helping facilitate owning a tree by each member named after him. So we would need your advice and support.
Sure.
How to do that scientifically and
actually, perhaps some of you know, when you know Tata Nagar, you know that park, when that was there, and you know I was consulted. What little I knew, I told those people. Those trees were brought and then they're planted there. They're really.
They can come and see.
We can do that. I'm sort of participating in all these things to the extent that is possible. Anything else?
Yeah. Can you pass?
So the normal, how do I say it, common perception among people is that if you want to regreen a particular area, you have to use the native trees from that particular area or region, etc., etc. But especially with climate change, what we are noticing is that even the native trees do not actually survive in certain conditions if the conditions of that particular area have changed that much.
They don't survive?
I'm just saying that you tend to see, like if you notice right now also during the daytime, the heat is intense. I have plants in my own balcony. Some of them are crisping literally their leaves. And these are native trees to Karnataka.
When trees brought from Central America can survive here and do very well.
Exactly.
Our native trees which have lived here and survived and flourished for thousands of years, can't they do it? And then you want an example.
Yeah.
You want to seeing is believing. You go to GKVK, Mahatma Gandhi Botanical Garden.
True, but what you will notice also is that for the last 1,000, 2,000 years, the temperature has not varied much. Whereas, for example, in the last 100 years, it has drastically changed over the course of a few decades.
Still, sir, I'll tell you something. Trees have a remarkable capacity of adjusting themselves, acclimatizing themselves to changing conditions. Because of that ability of trees, today they are the best option for even climate change. This thing there, they are the good Samaritans. Wherever they go, they do good.
Okay. So you might have already answered my question, but my question was basically there's a famous farmer and agriculturist. His name was Masanobu Fukuoka.
He said they cannot adopt themselves.
No, what he suggested was that considering the fact that the land and the conditions have changed so much, instead of only looking at native seeds and native plants,
one other example.
what he suggested was
not refuting his
no. I haven't yet told you what his suggestion is. So his suggestion was that you take native seeds of all the regions around and basically whatever you have, and you plant those. You just leave those seeds and then let the nature and that particular conditions decide which of those, whether they are native or non-native, which of them actually then survive. I think it's a brilliant idea, but I just wanted to know your opinion on it.
Brilliant idea. If you go to one of my websites, is there a way we can go to the website? India Flora Online, recently I have launched. There, you go to the search, advanced search. You ask for number of native trees which have come to India from other places thousands of years ago and acclimatized themselves.
Correct.
If you ask for those trees there, the number of trees is, as I have accounted for them, 2,270 species of trees in India. When you have so many of them here, where is the need for us to bring trees from somewhere and make them sort of adjust themselves or acclimatize themselves to our this thing? There is no need. In fact, those two articles that I was talking about, it is the native trees which are more efficient in methane uptake than this thing. They say in this 25 to 50 million tons of the methane that has been taken there, much of it is only by the native trees. So there is no need for us to bring native trees. And then about trees adapting to conditions there, you better again go to GKVK and see there. They brought trees from all over the Western Ghats, from different parts of even India, and they are growing them there.
That is even here opposite to CES. If I'm not mistaken, there's 2 acres which was earmarked about 25 years back, and most of the Western Ghats saplings were planted there. If I'm not mistaken, just opposite the creeper that you were talking about. And I think most of them have survived, but I also read that somewhere down the line some exotic species were...
One other example I'll give you. The old CES building, in front of that there is what you call a mini forest. You heard of that?
That is the one I'm referring to.
You are referring to mini forest?
Yes.
That was an experiment. We have a paper also published on that. Mini forest. We brought trees from every nook and corner of the country there, planted them there. And actually, it is to tell people there about the remarkable capacity of trees to sort of adjust themselves to change the conditions and then do very well there. That is proved here in this mini forest here.
Yes. Thank you.
So the trees do that. Trees do that. And actually, it's also somewhere I read recently. You see, you go to Daily Hunt and then this Google search and all that there. Lately, you see everything, most articles are on trees, their adaptation, everything this. All these things, only on these issues people are talking, because you see, it has become a very important issue. And then they're also telling what kind of trees can adapt themselves to even the changing the climate change and all that.
Yes, sir. The trees and power are both are live actually.
Trees and
power. Yeah, both are live. We have replaced all overhead lines in the campus and saved many trees actually. That I just wanted to convey. And I think no overhead line in the campus. Now we are not supposed to touch any tree or branch or whatever.
Very good thing.
Yes. No. Still I remember Professor Balram telling me, I will ask the institute community whether you want a tree or power. Power. If you want power, you cut a tree, or if you want a tree, no power. like that you was telling. So with that, we have replaced all the overhead lines, including the 66 kV line, which is there, that Jubilee Garden. So there was big towers, when a branch comes and touches the 60 kV line, it used to trip the entire campus, no power. So we have faced a lot of such situations during the late nights, and many times we have to call the KPT cell, BESCOM people, just open the circuit breaker, I say we are working here, and so we have done lot of such kind of work and saved many trees, sir. This just I wanted to convey. And thank you very much for a good book actually, which you have presented.
When we were in Vietnam, we noticed that there's a bunch of people with ladders and things who go and prune the trees appropriate to the place where it is.
Good thing you told me about that. Okay. That culture is not there in our country. So we don't know. In every city, we have people trained. They go in trucks there and they prune the trees there. Yes. Prune the trees there, and then also see which branch is likely to sort of perish and all that. They remove, they diseased these things there. They do that so beautifully there. That is why even though they don't have big diversity in, say, North America or other places there, the avenue trees they look so very beautiful that, and they're very healthy, because the unhealthy branches which are likely to fall down, such things are all removed there. We don't have instances of, the trees falling or branches breaking, and such things are not there. We don't have such. We have to train a crew in the city to go in vehicles with the proper equipment and sort of maintain the trees.
Part of the electricity department, actually.
Yeah. They have to do that.
It's really a very bad idea to chop off the whole tree instead of chopping the branch, which is.
Yeah.
So in fact today,
Because you see, these things have to go hand in hand. We cannot help it. We cannot help it, sir. So we have to think of ways and means. And you tell me because you have power lines there and we cannot have trees. No, I'm just telling we cannot do that.
We have to prune the branches. That's all.
Prune the branches. My goodness. And then when a tree has fallen on my street where I'm staying in Sanjay Nagar, the tree has fallen there. To come and cut the tree and then to take the debris, it took more than 1.5 weeks. That is the state of affairs here. And then a tree in front of my house it was dead because of these parasites. Tree parasites are there. I wanted to have that cut there. While cutting that, they cut my broadband.
That happens all the time in Tata.
You believe me if I tell you, and that broadband is cut there, and that was actually this, or what is it? Our government thing. BSNL. 5 days, 6 days, I had to call them to come and fix it. They would not do it. So what I have done finally, yesterday, I have gone to this ACT people there. We just called, in 20 minutes they have fixed it.
Yes. Sir, even on the Gulmarg, I had noticed one very weak branch of the tree. It may fall any time. So if there is an expert committee, we can recommend the nursery people to trim the trees or cut the branches wherever it's very.
Today nobody asks me nothing. These days nobody asks me nothing about the campus or tree, anything like that. Well, perhaps they do not know that I am very much alive and here on the campus.
I think for the interest of time, we'll have to close the session today. Thank you, Professor Rao, for this interesting, wonderful talk. And I'm sure this volume will reach many hands. It's a treasure for all Bangaloreans, and everyone should read it.
I have one thing to say, that maybe I'm not very coherent in conveying what I wanted to because of some problems, age-related problems. So you have to apologize. Yeah, I apologize for that, and you have to pardon me for that.
It's very coherent and very interesting.
KPJ Reddy sends his regards for you. The Bodhi tree person. Yes, he just called me. He sends his regards for you.
Oh, Professor Reddy.
Yes, yes.
He is very much here.
No, he'll be coming, but he is in Chintamani right now. Right?
So people